wrong. Have to say you love.
I'll tell you about my concern coming up, and it's a little bit scary to me for reasons I will get into, and so we'll talk about that briefly. And I'm sorry, I'm multitasking here. I'm just getting a song that I know you're going to love. So we will get into what is going on, and it's not limited just to me. It's really it includes everybody, but it's sort of something that hit home with me actually just this morning. Really. So we'll get into that. And the election fraud investigations, vote recounting continues. Good reason for it, too. We'll cover all that coming up. Legacy 1160 WSKW. Here's the late Bob Welch.
Well, have you seen that girl in the corner? I'd like to take her out of her chains. 'Cause if I had my way with you, baby, I would be changing your life today. Your eyes got me dreaming. Your eyes got me blind. Your eyes got me hoping that I'll be holding you close tonight. Your eyes got me dreaming. Your eyes got me blind. Your eyes got me hoping that I'll be holding you close tonight. She was the same as 100 ladies, but when my eyes looked at her, I learned that she was keeping a secret fire, and if I got real close, I'd burn. So it looked like I had to move slowly, like a cat at night in the trees, 'cause I was waiting for her to show me the way that she liked to love to feel. Your eyes got me dreaming. Your eyes got me blind. Your eyes got me hoping that I'll be holding you close tonight. Your eyes got me dreaming. Your eyes got me blind. Your eyes got me hoping that I'll be holding you close tonight. Ebony eyes, ebony eyes, ebony eyes, ebony eyes.
It's time for a little fun, a few laughs, and a whole lot of truth.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris only represents terrorists and arsonists and people who murder retired cops in St. Louis. I know that the Democrats have turned into the Marxist Party. I know they hate America. They hate the Constitution. And if the Democrats get in charge, we will be a suburb of Venezuela. And I hope everybody out there knows that we, the people, have an absolute moral obligation to vote God, family, country, freedom, Constitution. And if you don't vote those basic principles, the communists and the Marxists would like to thank you.
The John James Show is on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. For those who are here, for new listeners, welcome. Great to have you along. Nothing is held back here. Zip. Nothing. We speak the truth without fear. We are in America. Just watching people filter into the next room. Not sure who they are. Strange faces coming in. That's okay. They're welcome. Not into this room, into the next room. We have a window. Here. So we got a lot to talk about this morning. Thank you, Ken, for the text this morning already. That's good. You like that song? I love that song. I love Bob Welch. The late, great Bob Welch. Sentimental Lady, Ebony Eyes, Precious Love. Does anybody remember Precious Love? That was one of my favorites. Ebony Eyes was my favorite. He used to be with Fleetwood Mac, you know. Fleetwood Mac originally did the song Sentimental Lady. Bob Welch was the lead singer on that. But it was a Fleetwood Mac song, and then he did it. He made it a hit when he became a solo artist. Precious Love by Bob Welch is one of my favorites. Just a fun pop song, just like Ebony Eyes is. And I love music. I could talk. We could talk about music, especially the 70s and 80s and late 60s. I could talk about that all day long. I could. I love it. I could turn you on to some songs that would become your favorites. I swear to you I could. And perhaps I will at some point. Not today. Got a lot to talk about, 9:17. And I told you I was a little... I got some news this morning that frightened me. It made me sad. And it makes you realize... It made me realize what Dr. G, our in-house medical doctor, who's just a great guy, longtime friend of mine, recently retired medical doctor, said when you can start putting faces to something, it takes on a whole new persona. And this morning, I found out that somebody in the radio group my son works for has COVID-19, which means my son has been exposed to it, which means, he's got a family. And here's where the real fear comes. I fear anybody who gets it. I mean, it's got a huge survival rate. And for most people, it may be bad, maybe uncomfortable. Probably isn't going to be lethal unless you have underlying conditions. I have the sweetest grandson in the world who has an autoimmune disorder. And so you can imagine, and I'm one of these people. I thank my mother for this. I'm one of these people, when I hear something is going on, I immediately start thinking the worst. This is why people are so different. Everybody is so different. There are people that don't worry about anything until there's something to worry about. And that's a great way to live if you can do it, because it's true. That's a fact, Jack. There's no point in worrying until there's something to worry about. That's great. I wish I had that gene, but I don't. So you hear that somebody you know and love has been exposed to COVID. Then you think of other people that we have in common that we know and love who may or may not have so far been exposed to COVID and has an underlying condition. And then worry sets in. And I suppose worry is good to the extent that you just take extra precautions, but you can't help the thoughts you have. You know, I just wish they didn't occur. I'll tell you what. Let me tell you this story, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to it. I know a lot of parents will be able to relate to it. My mother was what was commonly known back in the day as a worry wart. Now, I don't know what exactly a worry wart is. I suppose there is a definition for it. It's not like an actual wart, like a worry wart that grows on your head or anything like that. But you worry a lot. You worry about things you shouldn't worry about. So when I would not be home when I said I would, I'd go out with my friends. You know, we had licenses. I'd go out with my buddy Rick, and we'd go out and we'd gallivant around Augusta, cruise the Ave, pick up hot chicks. Never. We weren't really hipsters. But, you know, we'd be out and around. And now you got to remember, when we grew up, when you and I grew up, a lot of us grew up, their cell phones, you know, if you weren't at a location where somebody knew you were at that had a landline, forget about it. You aren't going to be and you know, and kids, even with cell phones, kids don't call their parents, say, okay, Mom, everything's okay. Maybe they do. Mine never did. My son never did. Okay, Mom, we're okay. You had to reach out to them. So my mother would call the emergency room. I'm not, I wish I was making this up. She would call the ER to see if Jonathan James was there. And she would be so relieved when they said no. Then in 1980, when I went to work, I was just going to a radio station across the river, over to Gardner. I was living in Randolph, going to work at WABK over in Gardner back in 1980. And my dad, I remember my dad told me he was on his way home from someplace. He worked for the state. Maybe he was coming home from the state. And he met an ambulance turning up Northern Avenue in Gardner. Didn't think anything of it. He got home. My mother always listened to the radio and knew I was supposed to be on Saturday evening at 6. I relieved a guy named Dan Ross. And Dan was at 6:15. Dan was saying, wait, and I was going by the name Nick West at the time. That was my on-air name at WABK. And he said, Nick West isn't here. Maybe he's out in his car and he can't get out of his seatbelt. He was kidding around. Well, the fact is, I didn't have a seatbelt on that day, that I was broadsided in my Datsun B210. That goes back a few years. And my mother took the call from the hospital saying, and you got to realize now, my mother is a worry wart. She always she didn't think the worst this day because I was just going over to Gardner. I was just going 5 miles at most. And she doesn't hear me on the radio. She gets worried. And then the call came in, and it was the worst kind of call you can imagine, because they said, this Mrs. James? Yes, it is. I can't remember if it was the hospital or the state police. Mrs. James, you need to get up here right away. Your son, Jonathan, is here. And they couldn't give her any information. What do you think went through her mind? And I was. Initially, I was touch and go. They didn't know if I was going to live. So my mother and father come rushing up to the hospital, and thank God I had a paramedic on site. I tell you, and I haven't told this story many times. This is very, and anybody who knows radio in this area will know some of the names here. Dan Ross, the guy I was going to relieve. They got word from somewhere that I had been in an accident. And I know Ryan Cody, who I worked with, who's still on the radio at the time, went to the radio station, and they're all gathered and they're talking, what's going on? What are we going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, I'm laying in the hospital unconscious. My girlfriend, the girl I was engaged to at the time, shows up. She can't get in to see me. I'm in the ICU, and she's freaking out. My mother especially is freaking out. And the story goes that as I was laying there in my Datsun B210, here, this is interesting. I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. I was broadsided by a pickup truck coming out on the Hollowell-Litchfield Road. Why I had gone, that was a ways beyond the station. The only thing I can think of is I knew Colleen Fuller, who... And we were good friends, and she was part of the family that owned Fuller's Market. Maybe I was going out to see her before my shift to say hi out to Fuller's Market. I don't know why I was out there where I was before my show. I'd stopped in and saw the guy on the air, and I told Dan, I said, Dan, I'll be right back. I didn't tell him where I was going. So I jumped in the Datsun, and I drove out there, and I came out. There was a stop sign that was hidden by trees. I guess I didn't see it. I don't know. I wasn't familiar with the area, I guess. I pulled out, and there was a bad hill there, which has since been cut down, trimmed down a lot, and a pickup truck came over the hill, I guess, I don't remember, and broadsided me and threw me to the other side of my vehicle. If I'd had a seatbelt on, I would have been crushed. So God was with me then, but I was bleeding from the mouth. I guess it was my tongue or something. I don't know. Somebody showed up who we never knew. We never knew. He showed up. He held my head up so I wouldn't choke until paramedics arrived. And then when paramedics came, he left. Never knew who he was. There's one person in this world who knew who this guy was, who found out who this savior of mine was. And it was Don Brown, the late, great Don Brown. And I'll never know. And then, thank God, Gardner Paramedics had a guy named Ted Hunt, who was excellent. Ted Hunt took care of me, and the paramedics took care of me. Ted Hunt, by the way, is Nikki Hunt's dad. If you know who Nikki Hunt is, the Nikki Hunt Band, it's her dad who saved my life as the paramedic. So from then on, my mother's worry was threefold. And so I get this bug from her. So when I hear this COVID-19 in the place where my son works, so my son has now been exposed to it, and he's got a son who has an autoimmune disorder, I freak out. So forgive me. don't worry, I'm not going to go all mask Nazi on you here, but forgive me if I stop criticizing. I haven't really been critical of people wearing masks anyway. I'm not that type of person. I am a real true constitutionalist. Live and let live. You live your life the way you want to. I don't care how you live your life, as long as you don't affect me. And if you're not wearing a mask and I'm uncomfortable with that, then I just stay away from you. That's all. That's free world, free country. But I'm going to start wearing a mask more now, given what's going on, because I'm a worrywart. So there's my story. And I'm sorry it took so long to get to it, but I wanted to share with you because this is what I do. I have no nothing to hide. I share the way I feel because I know that so many other people, I mean, we're all much different from each other, but we're all the same. When it comes right down to it, we share so much in common. When it comes to the way we feel, to the things we worry about, to the people we love. And, it just, so I hope you can relate. And that's why I may seem a little off this morning, because I've got this thing in the back of my head. But that said, we're going to do a great show. We're going to do a show like we always do. No less passion, no less truth. We've got it for you. And everything's good. I thank God everything is good right now, and I pray it will be. And I pray for our president, and I pray for a second term still. And we've got good reason to. Even though the media doesn't want you to think there's going to be a second term, we've got good reason to. Let's look at it coming up. I'm John James, and we'll be back. We're going to take a quick break here for Today in History. We always do this, so we'll find out what happened on this day, on the 12th of September in years past, and we'll do a commercial break, and then we're going to get into the show. So please don't go anywhere.
November 12th, 1927. Joseph Stalin becomes undisputed ruler of what's then the Soviet Union. His rival, Leon Trotsky, is expelled from the Communist Party. More than a dozen years later, Trotsky is killed with an ice pick while in exile in Mexico. Stalin is widely believed to have arranged the murder. His repressive rule lasts for more than a quarter century. 1942. During World War II, the naval battle of Guadalcanal begins in the South Pacific. That's where the United States and its allies win a major victory over the Japanese. 1815. Elizabeth Cady Stanton, a leader in the movement to give American women the right to vote, is born in Johnstown, New York. 1929.
Don't try to be a hero. You don't have to be a hero, not for me.
Grace Kelly, the Hollywood movie star who became Princess of Monaco, is born in Philadelphia. And 1945.
Keep me searching for a heart of gold, and I'm getting old.
Neil Young, singer and songwriter, is born in Toronto, Canada. Today in History, November 12th. Camille Bohannon, The Associated Press.
AM 1160, WSKW.
What a fantastic time to shop for fall items at Townline Antiques, where you'll find 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. Townline Antiques has vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and so much more. And if you haven't been recently, there are new booths and a lot of new items, including a full booth of Christmas goodies for anyone who wants to spread some early cheer. Townline Antiques open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5 on Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro town line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Hi, my name is Tony Esposito from Rockland Ford. This year has been crazy, and this month, so are our deals. Ford has finally started making cars again, so our lot is full and the incentives are high. This month only, you can buy a brand new redesigned Ford Escape for as low as $22,415 or $359 a month with no money down. I repeat, you can buy a brand new Ford Escape at Rockland Ford for as low as $359 a month with no money down. And if a truck is what you need, we got you covered. Rockland Ford just made a special purchase of 35 low-mileage program F-150s, as low as $23,995 or only $359 a month with no money down. This month only, buy a brand new Escape or program F-150 for $359 a month with no money down. Call us while supplies last at Rockland Ford, home of the Rock Bottom Deal, Route 1 in Thomaston.
Payments are for qualified credit for 84 months at 4.5% APR.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cloudy this morning with a slight chance for a shower. Some developing sun is possible later this afternoon inland, but expect a mostly cloudy day and cooler with temperatures dropping to the low to mid 50s this afternoon. Increasing clouds tomorrow with the chance for showers, highs in the 40s, sunny near 50s Saturday with rain late Sunday.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Well, hello there. Welcome back to the show, and we'll get right to it. Oh, we cover a lot of stuff. We cover a lot of ground here. You learn a lot. And if you listen to other shows, you will hear some of it repeated during the rest of the day. And I'll be talking about, I'm sure, some of the stuff Mike Violette talked about this morning, because we do dig, we do research. I've got to, and I don't do this to blow our own horn or anything like that, but I have to compare media research. They do no research. Use their opinion to form their news narrative, and then they spew it to everybody. Just like this thing the other day. If you missed it, let me just go over it again really quick here. The other day, we were talking about MSNBC, CNN, and ABC. All three of these networks. They have hundreds of people working for these networks, making many of them, especially the anchors, making six figures. Do you think I'm anywhere near six figures? I'm lucky to be in five. And they've got a team. Yet, last Saturday, those three networks I just mentioned, Wolf Blitzer and who I forget who it was on MSNBC, one of the talking heads, they're all the same. You just put a different face on them. They're all the same, every one of them. And they're saying that everybody in the world is celebrating the fact that Donald Trump lost. They were shooting off fireworks in London. They were ringing church bells in Paris. Did you hear it? I've got it on audio. I played it the other day. Them reporting that because Donald Trump lost, the church bells in France were ringing. The fireworks were going up in London because of the victory of Joe Biden. When all they had to do is just a tiny bit of one of their minions, one of their many minions could have done a quick Google search and found out that the fireworks in London were a celebration of something that happened back in the 1600s, and this was the day they were celebrating it. And that the bells in Paris were a call to prayer. Had they taken just 2 minutes on Google, these mainstream media outlets, damn it, we give you more in 5 minutes than they give you insofar as truth goes in 24 hours. And these are mega corporations making mega bucks. We're just a little tiny microcosm in the world of media. Believe me, it's not lost on me. I don't pretend we're something we're not. I don't pretend I'm something I'm not. I'm a puny little loudmouth in a tiny, itsy-bitsy, one of the smallest markets in the United States of America. And I have the conscience to want to know what is going on so I don't lie to anybody. Wouldn't it be nice if they would do the same? And I ask, why do you watch them? They write stories, they write fiction and report it as news. And we have some great examples of that coming up during the show this morning. Don't go anywhere. You need to hear this stuff. Not that you want to, but you need to. All right. So let me get to the right page here. All right. So let's start out right here. Let's start out right here with MSNBC, or MSDNC, as they're affectionately known. State-run media at its best. They have now, as of yesterday, they have solidified their place in the Democrat Party with a brand spanking new promotional announcement featuring Marxists Joe Scarborough, Chuck Todd, and others, talking about this historic election, which has made Joe Biden the so-called president-elect. You can't get much more transparent. You can't get much more state-run media than this. Listen to this and prepare to puke.
Okay, we have an announcement to make. Joe Biden is president-elect of the United States.
There are days that leave an indelible mark on our history.
Senator Kamala Harris, now vice president-elect.
Days we remember where we were when it happened.
Joy is spontaneously breaking out all over America right now.
How we felt, who we were with.
I feel like we've created a better opportunity and a better world for our children.
These are the days that define us.
MSNBC, state-run media. They couldn't spend 1 minute of one day saying anything good about Donald Trump, yet they do a promotional announcement, the time that changed us. History being made. We'll all remember where we were. I mean, they don't try to hide it anymore. They don't try to hide their party affiliation. Why do you want to listen to a news outlet affiliated with a party? Or if you're going to, get both sides. I do. I swear to you, I look all over the place for this stuff. I see the left. I see the right. I weigh them both. Trust me, when it comes to truth, there is no truth on the left. I see it every single day. I research it. I look at it. I try to find some redeeming value to watching these other channels, but the only redeeming value I can find from watching MSNBC and CNN and George Stephanopoulos and Chuck Todd is that they make me appreciate Donald Trump more than ever. And they make me appreciate the freedom and the Constitution more than ever. Those are the redeeming qualities of the mainstream propaganda network losers. Propaganda. It is lies presented as truth, not news. It's not news. It should not be regaled as any kind of news because it's not. They should say the latest propaganda if they were going to be truthful. Their viewers wouldn't care. Their viewers don't know propaganda from news anyway. They're quick to pick up the torch and carry it for whoever they're told to. The left is very compliant with their media, and that's the way communism is supposed to be. You follow us lockstep or we're going to cancel you. And they do. 9:44 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. So there's a fun little thing I thought I'd start the day out with. Now here's a story that has made national news from Maine. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't heard about this. Excuse the language up front, I'll tell you that. And I'm not, don't worry, I'm not going to drop any F-bombs or anything like that. But you got to hear this. This is Maine. This is the great state of Maine, the way life should be. More proof that academia in this state and across the country absolutely needs an overhaul. Another good reason we need Donald Trump. Joe Biden is going to be more socialism. More lockdowns. Oh, you're not going to believe. You're not going to believe. If you haven't heard already, you will not believe what his coronavirus task force is calling for. Oh, you're going to love this if you haven't heard it. Stick around. That's coming up. This will make your head spin. But this story right here is out of Thomaston. Remember when Georges Valley High School in Thomaston and was it Rockland High School or Great Salt Bay? Some of the schools merged, and they became the Oceanside complex of middle school, high school, and all that. Well, this is from that school district. It's on the coast, but this could be anywhere in the state of Maine because we've seen this all over in different places, including Dover Foxcroft, including I don't forgive me. I'm not going to say that it's somewhere in the Waterville, Fairfield, Oakland area, school there. Indoctrination. This is Thomaston. For some reason, according to the Blaze, for some reason, a principal of a middle school in Thomaston, Maine, decided it was a fine idea to post profane insults on Facebook against supporters of Donald Trump the night before the election. The principal at Oceanside Middle School, Bill Gifford. Have you heard of Bill Gifford? Well, he wrote the night before the election, this principal of this middle school, the guy running the school, that the students, when I had a principal in school, do you remember the principal in school? I had a principal in high school. He was just a man's man. He was just a nice man. The vice principal was the guy you didn't want to go see. Although he was a great man, too. They're both great men. You see that after you get out of school. You see what great people these educators and leaders really were. But I looked up to my principal. He would never have a bad word to say about anybody. Political, forget about it. They didn't get political in school. Not at all. Our government teacher, Mr. Norm Weymouth, who I talked with several months ago, he's still alive, a great man. He was a Republican in the Maine House of Representatives for years, many years, before they had term limits. And he was also the government teacher at Gardner Area High School, where we had to learn about government, how government works. Imagine that. And I never once knew what side of the aisle he was on. Never once. He just taught. He taught what you need to know about government. He didn't tell you how to think. Well, okay, so now let's go to the principal here at the Oceanside Middle School in Thomaston, Bill Gifford. He wrote that Trump is not my president and possibly the worst president ever. Oh, but wait, wait, there's more. There are no limits on Facebook. There are on Twitter, not on Facebook. Oh, he went on. He ripped Trump's trolls and called us asswipes. Principal, Oceanside Middle School. Trump supporters are trolls and asswipes. Bill Gifford, the principal, the guy kids look up to. But wait, there's more. He also reportedly wrote that Trump supporters have big trucks and small Richards, if you know what I mean. He didn't say Richards. Hello? Middle school? Bueller, hello? Fire this guy. See ya. I am an opinion host on a radio station. I would never do that on my Facebook. I'm not a leader of children. Write this school district. Go to their Facebook page, Oceanside Middle School or the Oceanside School District, and write this school district. And tell them this is unacceptable. This is why kids are being raised the way they are. Because parents who don't have a moral compass, who really don't care about politics, who have no direction to lead their kids in, send them to school where they are led by idiots like Bill Gifford of Oceanside Middle School. Now, this wasn't the first time Gifford took on Trump supporters. He also reportedly posted over the summer that Trump, oh, I love this, Trump monkeys. So there you go. You've got a principal at Oceanside Middle School in Thomaston who has a more juvenile mindset, much more juvenile mindset than the kids that he is charged with watching over. So he says Trump monkeys are ignorant effers. But the word obviously spelled out. A principal. There should be no question that this guy, bye-bye. See ya. This is national news. That's how bad this guy is. Fire him. He should not be leading children. He also said that we are part of goon squads and added that now the gloves are off and you are either with me or with him and his fascist army. So you have an educator who doesn't even know what the word fascist means. What? Hell, I could do a better job being a principal than that, and I never went to school for education. In fact, I wasn't a great student in high school. But wait, there's more. Gifford's posts were widely circulated among Regional School Unit 13. That's it, if you're looking for it. The community saw it, and alarmed parents said the principal set a bad example for students, according to BDN. You think? You think he sets a bad example for students? You're trying to raise kids to be respectful and kind, and wait a minute, wait for it, because he's definitely one of these. Tolerant and inclusive? I'm sure Bill Gifford would be the first one to say, we've got to be tolerant and inclusive, as he goes off saying that Trump supporters are Trump monkeys who drive trucks and have small Richards. He took the post down and he apologized. Yeah, that's good. That's good, Billy. That's good, Billy. You put on your dunce cap, Billy Gifford, and you go sit in the... You've got detention, Billy Gifford. What would a kid get for detention if he posted something like that? What would a kid... He'd probably get suspended from school. Kids get suspended from school for less. For eating Pop-Tarts into the shape of a gun. For doing a gun symbol with their finger and thumb. Kids get suspended for that. So this tolerant, inclusive principal, his head should roll, basically. Sorry, and I'm not usually one who is an advocate of getting people fired from their jobs. But I mean, come on. Come on. The paper said Gifford was the second main school official last week who came under fire for making disparaging remarks about Trump and his supporters. Regional School Unit 71, you heard about this last week, this Belfast area, after making profane posts about Trump supporters on Facebook on election night. This is our education in Maine. They're unhinged. Democrats and Republicans alike should be demanding for the removal of the people who do this stuff. You never hear about a Trump supporter going on and demeaning Biden supporters or Democrats or anything like that, unless it's people on Facebook stating an opinion and people get mouthy and divisive. But just to go off with these random commentaries, this guy clearly has not enough judgment to be in any kind of a supervisory position over anyone, let alone our kids. One parent, Steve Sperrin, said, "I believe that thinking we can hold the principal to a lower standard than the students are held to be is inexcusable. If a student," and he's right, "if a student said those things in that manner, an apology of 'I'm sorry you heard me say it,' no matter how nicely worded, would not be acceptable." He's right. Sperrin added to the paper that by disparaging Trump and his supporters, Gifford effectively targeted district students and families who might support Trump. What? You mean there might be somebody in his school district who supports Trump? There might be Trump monkeys who drive pickup trucks and have small Richards in this area? No. We're on the coast. We're elite. Nobody likes Donald Trump. He's a knuckle-dragging, truck-driving hillbilly from New York. What? That's the way they look at him. We're all knuckle-dragging hillbillies to these people. That's why they think they can get away with it. They're better than us. But they're not, are they? No, his day's coming soon, I think. It appeared Gifford deleted the Facebook page, his whole Facebook page, as of today. But the paper got a screenshot of his controversial post, the Bangor Daily. Our Regional School Unit 13 Superintendent John McDonald would not comment on the matter, but the Village Soup reports that Gifford is not responding to a request for comment. And so I'm sure the jury is out on what is going to become of this hack, this poser in Thomaston. Are you as mad as I am? You should be. I hope you are. I don't care what side of the political aisle you're on. That's just unacceptable. Unacceptable. It's school unit, Regional School Unit 13. Go ahead, send them an email. Tell them you're not going to tolerate this. Look up the story in the Bangor Daily News. Go to the Blaze. Go to the Blaze. Theblaze.com. That is Glenn Beck's network, and it's right there. It was right near the top when I found it this morning. We've got 9:57. Back with a lot more after the news. Don't go anywhere.
WSKW AM 1160.
What a fantastic time to shop for fall items at Townline Antiques, where you'll find 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. Townline Antiques carries vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and so much more. If you haven't been recently, there are new booths and lots of new items, including a full booth of Christmas goodies for anyone who wants to spread some early cheer. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5. Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Alex Perche. Another milestone in the pandemic. This week, there's been an increase every day in new coronavirus cases, with 144,000 new infections logged on Wednesday alone, 65,000 new hospitalizations. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the country's top infectious disease doctor, says they've been sending the same warnings to the American people since the pandemic began, and the recent election isn't really playing a role in the response.
The medical part of it just keeps going forward. I know this is what I and my colleagues do every day. One, getting the message to the American people like we're trying to do this morning, but also pushing ahead on the development of vaccines and on countermeasures.
The Labor Department announcing this morning that another 709,000 Americans filed for first-time unemployment benefits last week. President-elect Biden naming his chief of staff. Ron Klain headed up the Ebola response task force during the Obama administration. This is ABC News. The mother of a teen accused of shooting and killing 2 people at a protest over the summer says it was self-defense.
Wendy Rittenhouse, the mother of Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old charged with the shooting deaths of 2 protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin, defending her son.
He's not a monster.
Rittenhouse traveling from his home in Illinois to Kenosha amid demonstrations protesting the police shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man. She tells ABC's WLS-TV that once there, her son joined groups protecting businesses from looting.
It was self-defense. He was chased by a bunch of mob.
She didn't say how her son acquired the weapon that he used in the shootings.
If he didn't have that gun, he would have been dead.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
TikTok is asking a federal judge for some help to stay up and running. Today is the deadline set by President Trump for Chinese owners of the short video platform to sell off its U.S. operations. And while TikTok has a proposed partnership deal in place, the company says it hasn't heard anything from the Trump administration. Alex Bechet, ABC News.
And now a game of commercial chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So, traffic has been crazy lately, right? And rush hour? Forget it. Nobody wants to let you merge onto the highway. But hey, somebody let you merge or you wouldn't be there. So drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
I'm Dr. Stork. Today, better nutrition and stronger immunity are essential. That's why Eggland's Best gives you and your family more. Compared to ordinary eggs, Eggland's Best provides 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, and 38% more lutein, plus more folate and iodine too, all to help you maintain a strong immune system and better overall health. These are no ordinary times, so why choose an ordinary egg? Only Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
It's time for the truth, and you found the home of it right here.
He wants the white suburbs to be terrified of Black Lives Matter and to think that it's some sort of big revolution against the police, etc.
It's time to giddy up. Let's do this, Chicago. Let's make the census cowboy proud.
But we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department. The Minneapolis Police Department is rotten. So when we dismantle it, we get rid of that cancer.
Here's your truth-telling, freedom-loving, flag-waving host, John James.
All right. So there you go. There's a group of banshees you just heard. Joy Reid from the Readout, Ilhan Omar, Lori Lightfoot, I just shake my head. There's nothing you can say. I mean, their words speak for themselves. I mean, I'll just listen to them, and you hear the idiocy. You just hear it. I don't have to say they're idiots. I've spent too much of my breath saying what a bunch of idiots, what a bunch of socialist, leftist, communist idiots. But you know that. You don't have to be told that. Just listen to them. 10:04 on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And welcome back to the show. So anyway, there's if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the Thomaston principal there at Oceanside Middle School, who profane-laced diatribe against Trump supporters on election night, or the day before the election, I guess. Just unbelievable. So where are we right now? Well, we're going to get to that. In fact, why don't we give you a little preview of what might be to come right now. I got this morning. I'm not sure who this guy is. He's just, I'm not going to say he's a random guy. I'm sure he's somebody. He's very well spoken. And he's going to tell us what happens if the president doesn't concede. And again, I love it when listeners send me stuff. Oh, by the way, if there's anybody listening right now on Facebook who wants to be my friend, who has not requested, I would like to. I'd like to be your friend. I just noticed during this last hour, two so-called friends have deleted me, which it happens. It happens regularly. You know, they can't stand the heat, so they get out of the kitchen. So kudos to them for that. But I've got a couple. You can have up to 5,000 friends on Facebook, and that's all they let you have. And I wish that wasn't the case. But, and people have told me, well, change to a fan page. You don't have a limit there. But I don't want fans. I want friends. So that's why I have resisted that. So anyway, we got this random guy here. So what happens if the president doesn't concede? First, what happens if he does concede? Well, okay, if Donald Trump concedes, which the mainstream media is raking him over, like they think raking Donald Trump over the coals is going to make him say, geez, you know, they're being real hard on me. Probably ought to concede. Are they out of their minds? And they're so angry. They are so angry. Concede. He needs to concede. He's ruining America. Shut up, Fredo and Dawn and Rachel. I mean, shut up. Stop it. Donald Trump is not going to kowtow to anything you want. He's not that kind of person. He's a strong individual, stronger than any president I've ever seen in my lifetime. I've seen a few. So first, what happens if Donald Trump concedes? Well, that's basically saying, oh, okay, Joe. Okay, Joe, you won. Good luck. And we know that would be a huge mistake. Now, here is someone, although I don't know who he is, he accurately and eloquently states the facts of the situation. And when you get right down to it, listen to the end. It's actually some pretty good news in the end.
The most powerful thing that keeps the peace in the United States of America is not required by law. It's just a custom. And it's called a concession speech. We've been doing it for a long time, but there's no law that requires a concession speech. However, it does aid in the peaceful transfer of power. So normally when a presidential candidate is in a fight for the presidency, it's a powerful position. It's like a throne, a king fighting for his throne. He has supporters. And those supporters are literally ready to fight, if you will, for their guy. And that's just the way it works, folks. It's been that way since the dawn of time. At the moment of the concession speech is when those people that support this guy are pretty much given the green light to simmer down, go back home. It's all over. It's a surrender. It's a white flag of surrender. But it is not required in the Constitution. It's simply a custom. It's a wonderful custom. Once a president concedes, the battle is over. There's no more legal fighting. There's nothing. Everything after that just sort of happens with a rubber stamp. Then the electors get together. They cast their votes in Washington, D.C. The president is officially elected and the votes are certified. And that certification gives that man the presidency. But more importantly, his concession speech from the opponent is what gives him legitimacy and a transfer without drama. But 2 times in our history, presidents did not concede the election. Why? Well, not because they were trying to be rambunctious, but just like Al Gore, they knew that something was off, and they were not ready to give up a fight with a margin less than 1% in all the battleground states. According to the law, Georgia is going to be recounted. We do not have any official result anywhere in the nation. Pennsylvania is going to be recounted. Arizona is still being counted. Nevada is going to be recounted. We have a total recount coming. Now, after that recount, the president has legal options to go to court to prove irregularity. So let's just say that none of that works, and the president still will not concede the election. The Constitution, Amendment 12 of the United States Constitution, gives you the answer of what will happen. If they cannot rule on it in the court, and he does not concede, and there's no certification of an undisputable majority, then we go to the House of Representatives. When we get to the House of Representatives, there are 475 members of that House. The election is null and void at that point. It's like it never happened. The numbers do not matter any longer. This has happened twice in history. I got a feeling it's fixing to happen again. At that moment, the election becomes obsolete, and now the president will be elected by the Congress, the House of Representatives. Now, immediately, that strikes fear in the heart of a conservative, because guess who controls the House? The Democrats. But not so fast. The Constitution goes on to say in that article that each state in the Congress gets one vote, not each representative. Each state gets one vote for the president. Well, there are 50 states in the House. Of those 50, 37 are Republican.
Well, there. See, they don't want you to know this. The left wants this over post haste. Now, unless Donald Trump gives up and waves the white flag, which I don't think he ever would. Donald Trump is not a quitter. He is not a quitter. He doesn't care what people think of him. And that's what gives him power. The left makes all of these crazy radical ideas, and they expect him to follow along, to compromise on his beliefs for what is good and what is best for the country. But he doesn't. Now, I don't want a president who will never listen to reason, but he does listen to reason if there is good proof of why he should. And he has. And he is doing a fine job with the... What is he not doing that they want him to do now with coronavirus? The Democrats, forget about they would have done better at the start. No, they wouldn't have. No, they wouldn't have. Because, hold on a second. Just needed to push that door closed. So, what would they have done better? They would have done nothing better. We pointed out yesterday how, Nancy Pelosi at the end of February was out there saying, come to Chinatown, come celebrate. Not that Chinatown could have or would have been any worse than any other place in San Francisco, but just to invite people to come to public gatherings in late February after Donald Trump had already stopped travel from China and Europe seems a bit much, don't you think? And you had Joe Biden calling Donald Trump a xenophobe in early March. So they would have done nothing. It would have been worse. It would have been worse had they been in power then. And what has Donald Trump not done other than maybe not worn a mask everywhere he goes and not been as emphatic about wearing that? It's up to the individuals. It's up to the individual and their choice Choice is something the left doesn't like. They don't like choice. They don't like choice. They want lockstep. They want compliance. And that's exactly what you're going to be looking at under a Biden administration. I'll show you here. Show you right now, as a matter of fact. Let me get to it. I tend to do things. I put things in order, and then I tend to be all over the place. But that's going to bring us into something very important about what Biden would do. There are Biden mandates that are going to make you, they're going to disgust you. But this one is of the utmost importance as it deals with COVID-19. Yesterday, a coronavirus advisor to Joe Biden suggested that America should enter a stringent lockdown for 4 to 6 weeks. He described the current state of the country as COVID hell and suggested that more federal spending would make another round of lockdowns economically feasible. We have a big pool of money out there that we could borrow, he said. How come Biden's not facing any pushback already? He's not even president, and already his advisors have him spending more billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, actually. Where's the pushback on that? Every time Donald Trump puts a stimulus package out there, they blame him for the debt going up. You can't have it both ways. You want stimulus, but you don't want the debt. Well, where's it coming from there, Einstein? I'm talking to you, Nancy Pelosi. So anyway, this guy says we could pay for a package right now to cover all of the wages. What? So we're going beyond. We're going way, way beyond what any stimulus package has so far. Other people's money is so easy for these jokers to spend. We could pay for a package right now to cover all of the wages, lost wages for individual workers, for losses to small companies, to medium-sized companies, for cities, states, county governments. That's Michael Osterholm, director of the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota and a member of Biden's 12-member COVID-19 advisory board. If we did that, then we could lock down for 4 to 6 weeks. And if we did that, we could drive the numbers down like they've done in Asia, like they did in New Zealand and Australia. Yeah. He suggested that would put America in a strong position before a vaccine becomes available in the first and second quarter of next year. So he's pushing it back already and bringing back the economy way before that. I don't know what to do other than shake my head. This guy wants to basically spend how many trillions of dollars would this take? You talk about a bailout of extraordinary proportions. Small and medium businesses, all wages. Wow. He must be doing some pretty good drugs, that's all I can say. The coronavirus anxiety and stress cost at least 7.5 times more in terms of years of life than the lockdowns could possibly save. That's assuming the best about the lockdowns, according to research. We're talking about terms of years of life, lost years of life of Americans. Listen. While the coronavirus pandemic is deadly and serious, we understand that. I told you about my personal worries now, the first hour. I told you about them. And I do. I worry. But other illnesses cost far more in terms of years of life. Now, here's some numbers for you. If 240,000 Americans die from the coronavirus, the virus will destroy about 2.9 million years of life from Americans who were alive at the beginning of 2020, which sounds catastrophic. However, the annual influenza robs Americans of roughly 35 million years of life, while suicides destroy about 132 million years of life every year, and accidents destroy 409 million years of life annually. Every death is horrible for whatever reason. But America doesn't lock down the economy to prevent accidents, to fight the flu, to get rid of all the illnesses out there. We have freedom that dictates how we behave. And most Americans who understand the severity of anything will behave in a manner that protects them and those around them. Furthermore, the article goes on here. This article is from PJ Media. It is likely the coronavirus lockdowns contributed to the deadly riots this summer, which proved the most destructive in terms of insurance claims in U.S. history. Research suggests that mandated isolation can impact brain patterns, increasing an individual's stress, aggression, and fear. Increasing stress can lead to depression and suicide, while increased aggression and fear can lead people to act out against perceived injustice by looting and rioting. Not to mention the lockdown severely crippled America's economy. Even though it's starting to come back, but now you've got people in the President-elect Biden administration saying they want to lock it down completely for 6 weeks. Go out only to shop for food. Well, sounds like it might be easier said than done. Sounds like pretty words to me. I don't know about you. 1022 Legacy 1160 WSKW. John James here with you. 207-621-9759. Voice line 207-441-6969. The text line. Hi, good morning. You're on with John. How are you?
Hey, John. It's Max.
Hey, Max. What's happening, my friend?
Oh, celebrating a birthday from yesterday.
Hey, happy birthday!
You're talking about all the mask requirements and stuff. Did you see what they just did in New York?
I think so. What, tell me, maybe I missed it.
Well, they've been having thousands of people celebrating, Biden's supposed victory.
Oh, yeah, 10 people?
That's okay.
Yeah.
But now you can't have any more than 9 people for Thanksgiving get-together.
9? Oh, I thought it was 10. They cut it back?
Yep, 9 people for a Thanksgiving get-together. But you can go celebrate Biden's victory by the thousands in Times Square. That's okay.
Did you see how packed that was? Did you hear? I always surf the media, Max. I don't know about you, and I did. I did not hear one negative comment about all of those maskless celebrators in Times Square.
Nope.
Not one word. Not one super spreader event. Nothing like that.
Nope. I find it strange that, Biden is the supposed winner, and all of a sudden all the riots stop, the looting stops.
Yep.
It's okay to gather in large groups without masks. Now all of a sudden Pfizer has a COVID vaccine.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's amazing, but we sort of knew that would happen, didn't we, Max?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did. And
I think the best thing they should do is name the new coronavirus vaccine after Trump, and then see how many people refuse to take it.
Oh, that would be funny. Yeah, no kid. The Trump vaccine. Oh my word, I love that. There's. I don't know where you stand. Where are you on the whole second term thing? Are you still hopeful?
I'm hopeful. I don't know. I'm still saying by hook or by crook, they're going to do whatever it takes.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Biden's already started like he's already got in contact with the head of the ATF. They're already starting on 80% lowers, pistol braces, everything.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's going to get bad.
This is scary times. Yeah, and you know, it's only going to get worse if Trump looks like he's going to get victory or is victorious. Then they're going to need those boards on the windows because
if he wins, you're going to see all the riots and Freak Fest start all over again.
Right, Freak Fest, because we knew that's the group that was doing it. You know, and now it's proven. I don't know how they frame this to make it look like, well, it's because Biden is such a moderate and lovable candidate. That's why nobody riots. No, it's because conservatives don't riot when they don't get their way. You know, but
no, because we all have to work.
Yeah, well, there is that. There is that, Max. Oh man, no, you're a good man. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your calling in.
Yeah, watching you on the big screen.
How's the video looking with this new platform?
It looks great. Like I said, in high def, you're a sexy beast.
Hey, I like to hear that, my friend.
I was listening to your thing this morning. I hope everything goes well for your son and your grandson.
Oh boy, yeah.
We had a scare like that. My stepson is autistic, and a couple times a week he goes to a group project here and locally, and they had a few members that tested positive, so we had to go through that whole thing of the whole household had to go get tested. And all that. And I'm at one of those at-risk people because of my heart condition,
right,
my lung condition, and all that. So it was pretty scary for a little while.
So everybody's negative. Everybody's good.
Everybody's A-okay. We've
good.
All tested negative, and we've been keeping him out of the group for a little while.
Good, yeah. I was going to say that's probably the best thing to do, and that's the best thing you can do. You know where the problems are. You just avoid the problems. You don't need the government to tell you, do you, Max?
No, you just got to have common sense and use your brain for something besides a hat rack.
That's what my dad used to say. That use your head for something besides a hat rack. I love it.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
Well, I'm kind of raised old school. My dad was actually old enough to have been my grandfather. When my father passed away, he was 86.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
And he died in 2001. So.
Wow. No kidding.
Yeah.
That's all. Well, he had wisdom. He had wisdom. When you were born, you grew up with the wisdom of an older man, which is never a bad thing because the older the generation, the more wisdom and common sense you can derive from them. When this current generation gets old, I mean, I see some older people now, Max, who are like in their 70s, 75, and I'm thinking, my God, is this what it's coming to? They aren't the old men I used to see in rocking chairs on porches, sipping lemonade and telling stories of their youth. They're out there, I can't even tell you. They're like old hippies.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like I have a cousin right now, and he's retired Navy. He's 80. Let me think now. 83, and he's got cancer, and he's like tough as nails. He's like, frigate. I've got cancer. I've got this. I've got that. I ain't doing nothing. Let it take me.
You get to that. You get to that point. I'm not quite there where I'm saying, let anything take me. But as I get older, it's like, okay, I know this is a good run, but you get real about it because when you're younger, you think, this is never going to end. But then you start to face your mortality, and you think, well, let's make the rest of it good as we can, right? And that's what we're trying to do here.
That's like I tease my daughter. She's 15, and she's at that point where boys.
Yeah.
She likes to taunt me about dating, and I'm like, just remember this: the older I get, the less life in prison is a deterrent.
I like that. You make sure you're cleaning your guns when he comes to visit too.
So I told her brother and I have already told her that first time you bring a boy home, we're going to have a gun cleaning party.
I like it. You're a good man. You're a good man. We got to spend some time together, Max, I think.
Yeah, I think we need to get me, you, and Jeff together and go to the range.
That would be great. That would be great. Jeff's always ready for it, so we just got to figure out a time we can do it.
Yeah. All right, brother. I just wanted to call and say hi.
Max, you have a great day, my friend.
You too.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
It's 10:29. Back with a lot more. Stick around. You don't want to miss any of it. I'm John James.
WSKW, Legacy 1160.
Electrical repair should never be done without the knowledge of how to do it safely. Better yet, skip that stress and let Kennebec Electric and Lighting take care of it for you. Kennebec Electric has offered professional electric and lighting service and expert installation in homes and businesses for over 37 years, and they stand behind that experience with a guarantee on all their work. Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Contact them for all your electric and lighting servicing, including installations and repairs at 861-7028 or online at KennebecElectric.com.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
WSKW, Legacy 1160.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cloudy this morning with a slight chance for a shower. Some developing sun is possible later this afternoon inland, but expect a mostly cloudy day and cooler with temperatures dropping to the low to mid 50s this afternoon. Increasing clouds tomorrow with the chance for showers, highs in the 40s, sunny near 50 Saturday with rain late Sunday.
Your pet rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Hi, welcome back. 10:32 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW 621-975-9 207-621-9759. Text line 207-441-6969. Getting texts in, and I will get to these as quickly as I can. John, good morning. To be fair, not all maskless celebrations are held to adjust elections. This past weekend, 2 or 3 college games had celebrations where thousands of fans jumped the stands at the end of each game, resulting in a COVID outbreak. And for postponed or canceled college football games this weekend, yes. Yes. You know what? I'm at the point, and don't dislike me. Don't judge me here, okay? Appears that during the commercials, when you address Facebook feed, your comments are heard through YouTube. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. It is. It goes through, when I comment to Facebook, I shouldn't say Facebook. I should just say people watching on video, but you're right. When I talk to just the video listeners, viewers, I know I'm talking to all of them, not just Facebook. I just use Facebook because that's what I've got in front of me most often. So, yeah, anyway, thanks for that. And that's the explanation for that. So, forget exactly where I was going with that, but I guess it doesn't matter. Oh, yeah, don't judge me. So, I am going to be, I'm not going to be a masked Nazi. I told you that. I never will be. I will not be a masked Nazi. And I will not mask shame anybody for wearing or not wearing a mask. I just won't do it. I have eyeballs in my head. That's how I get around. I have a head and eyes to move me around. And I can see where there might be danger, and so I avoid that, right? Isn't that what we do? You see something falling out of the sky. You see a baseball falling out of the sky, and you don't have a glove. And you don't have a helmet, and your arms are tied behind your back. What do? Do you stand there? No, you get the hell out of the way. So, and that's called freedom. Now, if the government ordered me to get the hell out of the way when I saw a baseball coming at my head, I would probably just stand there and let it hit me in the head, just out of spite. Much to my dismay, I probably would wind up with a severe concussion, but it would be worth it to prove that I'm not going to be controlled by anybody other than me and or my loved ones. It's 10:35 right now. Well, Stacey Abrams is one of the big go-to gals now on MSNBC and CNN. Have you seen Stacey Abrams? She's the standard bearer for the Democratic Party, I guess. Well, it's not much of a standard, really. The bar isn't very high. I mean, if it were, people like Chris Cuomo, Don Lemon, Al Sharpton, Brian Williams, and others, they'd be out panhandling on the Rotary. One of the favorite guests of these networks and shows like The View is failed Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams, who blamed her loss in the governor's race on racism and suppression of voters. Yeah, she's the go-to person for mainstream media. Big-time loser. Finally, someone has nailed it with a tweet that sums Stacey Abrams up in a sentence. Oh, excuse me, 2 sentences. Guy's name is Marcus. I don't know who Marcus is, but I salute Marcus. This is what he says. And now, this is what you need to know about Stacey Abrams. And if you don't know who she is, you've seen her before. She's a black woman, and when she smiles, you get a big gap between her front teeth. Now, I don't mean to shame her in any way. I'm just saying that's one of the identifiable traits that Stacey Abrams has, in case you're trying to picture who she is. Here's what Marcus tweeted. Stacey Abrams, and this is as a result of all of the mainstream media calling on Donald Trump to just please concede the race. You lost. Well, first of all, it's a very razor-thin margin. And second of all, there's inarguably, much to the chagrin of my leftist friends, inarguably, that means there is no argument, was widespread voter fraud. Sorry, it's proven. Okay, what do you want? What do you want? It's proven. And we've got more proof of it. Stick around. So Marcus tweets, Stacey Abrams lost Georgia by more votes than Trump lost Georgia, Arizona, and Wisconsin combined, and she still hasn't conceded. She is still a hero for Democrats and respected commentator for mainstream media. Boom. I didn't know that. I did not know she has not conceded the governor's race. Because racism. Stacey Abrams, yeah, she's our girl. Get her on. Get her on. Newsflash, Stacey Abrams is going to be on. Oh, The View loves her. Joy Reid. Oh, Stacey Abrams, my God. You know what America's top restaurant is? I know, it just came out of nowhere. I have this. I want to share it with you. You have any idea? Anybody going to guess? And don't look. Anybody going to guess on Facebook or on some other feed somewhere? You ready? I'm going to tell you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, I saw nothing light up. So it is Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. We don't even have one in Augusta. We don't have one in Lewiston, Auburn. We don't have one in Portland. You have to go to Bangor for a Chick-fil-A. Why? It's America's favorite fast food restaurant. Why isn't everybody trying to grab one of those franchises for this area. The index was based on 23,312 customer interviews. Chick-fil-A won. Following were Chipotle Grill, Arby's, Domino's, Dunkin', KFC, Panera, Subway, Papa John's, and Starbucks at number 10. McDonald's came in last at number 19. I love McDonald's. You know, many people, and this might be one of the reasons why there aren't more Chick-fil-A's in Maine. Many people avoid the restaurant and call for boycotts of the restaurant because they have given to organizations that are not gay-friendly. Again, live and let live. Just let people do what they want, for crying out loud. Why do you have to try to stop people from doing what they want? To prove they don't discriminate, though, Chick-fil-A, they've got a new sandwich. It's called the Chick on Chick-fil-A. I think I want to try that one. I've been jonesing to go to Bangor just to go to the Chick-fil-A. I love their food. I haven't had any since I was in Florida, but I love their food. And they've got those waffle fries. I love the waffle fries. You know who else has good waffle fries? I know we're off topic again. Rollies in Belfast. Little bar. Hole-in-the-wall bar there on Main Street in Belfast. Sweet potato waffle fries. Wow. 10:41 right now. Nancy Pelosi's making people angry on the left. People are not happy. People are not happy with Nancy. Progressive groups slammed her, according to Fox News, in their post-mortem on the 2020 election for showing off her expensive freezers full of premium Jenny's ice cream during an interview. Who was it? James Corden, whatever his name is. At the beginning of the pandemic, she was up there with her 2 Sub-Zero stainless steel refrigerators, about $25,000 a piece, but just in her kitchen, just her kitchen. She's not there much, but she's got a couple of $25,000 stainless steel Sub-Zero freezers for when she is there. And her decadent ice cream. So she's showing this off on TV. And now she's being soundly criticized by the left for doing that. I mean, this is stuff that costs them elections. Oh, not in her district. No, hell no, they don't care. They'll elect Nancy Pelosi until California falls into the ocean. Clean some of that feces off the streets because they think she's a goddess. They don't see what people with a brain see. They don't see a self-righteous loser. Wall Street executives and corporate lobbyists love Nancy Pelosi. And the Democrats say, Trump tells us we are the party of the swamp. It's not surprising we lose. This memo was sent to groups including Justice Democrats and the Sunrise Movement. Sent by those groups. Now, the Sunrise Movement is a group of young people uniting to stop climate change. Another big ruse. Another downfall of the education system. The indoctrination system. I love stories like this. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez slapped down. Not physically, not literally. The chairman of the New York State Democratic Party blamed the extreme leftism from Democrats for disappointing election results. And specifically, he singled out AOC. According to The Blaze, Jay Jacobs told the New York Post that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had no business telling other Democrats how to campaign given how far left her own district is. Jacobs said, quote, AOC has no standing on how to run a general election in the suburbs and upstate. AOC is in a district that's 6-1 Democrat, and she couldn't find a Republican in her district with binoculars. I invite AOC to come to Long Island and stand for election in one of our districts. You'll see different results, he said. Now, AOC naturally, with all of the adoring fans in her district, she easily won election because they clearly don't know what's good for them or for the country. They want free stuff. But it's a different story in other parts of New York, including other parts of New York City. In an emotional caucus phone call after the election, Democrat politicians said that Republicans pummeled them by aligning them with socialist policies, including defund the police and Black Lives Matter protests. I mean, you don't have to say much to align them because that's what they did. That's what they did. They are socialists. Bernie Sanders says socialist. AOC, Ilhan Omar says I'm a socialist. They want socialist policies. They want to defund the police. They call the police a cancer. Ilhan Omar does. She says we've got to get rid of capitalism. We've got to get rid of capitalism, replace it. I'm from Somalia. I know how a democracy should work. Yeah, right. We need to never use the word socialism or socialist ever again, said Abigail Spanberger, a Democratic representative. She won a close re-election in Virginia. If we run this way again, we'll get effing torn apart in 2022, she said. Well, you got to give her credit for some knowledge, don't you? She understands the landscape. She understands what the problem is. Too bad there were stupid people in her party that don't see it and won't see it. But they keep getting elected anyway because their electorate is as dumb as they are. Need I say more? It's 10:47. Right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm John James.
Hi, this is Jeff from K-Tronics, your local Wilson Electronics, WeBoost, and Dish TV product experts for over 23 years. From cell phone signal boosters for your camp, home, work, or vehicle, to Dish TV starting at only $59.99 per month for over 120 channels, including local channels. Now introducing smart home products to keep you connected and informed no matter where you are. Call 207-696-3200 or come see us at 57 Main Street, Madison.
Medicare is so confusing. I didn't know where to get help, but I wouldn't call a plumber in Arizona to fix my pipes in Maine. So don't call some out-of-state 800 number to navigate Medicare plans when your help is right here at home. The Senior Planning Center represents all Medicare Health and Part D plans. They have trusted professional experts in every county. You should call them for your free Medicare review.
Due to COVID-19, we are prepared to meet with our clients in person following safety protocols or by phone. Call 223-6565 today. That's 223-6565.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You want to get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers.
M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your sideswipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers.
Hi, it's Joey Joseph from Colebrook Mitsubishi in Skowhegan. How about a new Mitsubishi today and 0% APR financing? That's right, 0% APR financing. No financing charges for the life of your loan on your new 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander, Eclipse Cross, Outlander Sport, and Mirage models. Come in and see how we can defer your payments for up to 90 days. Get a new Mitsubishi for the holidays and have no payments until February of next year. Plus, take advantage of our $4,000 minimum trade offer. Yep, $4,000, even if it doesn't run, tow it in and you get $4,000. I'd like to thank every one of our customers who have helped make Colebrook the #1 selling Mitsubishi dealer in all of New England for 2020. Worried about credit? Even if you've had some credit mishaps, come find out how we can help. Everyone deserves a newer, nicer ride. Why not choose a small-town dealer with nice and friendly people to do business with? Small-town dealer with big-time discounts. Colebrook Mitsubishi, Route 201 in Skowhegan, or online at colebrookmitsubishi.com.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Hey, welcome back. How are you? Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas is back. Woo-hoo! There you go. Yeah, I'm telling you right now. Joe Biden, I'm going to warn you now, and I'm going to show you why I'm warning you. Why Joe Biden is going to destroy our country day one if he wins the election. He is not the president-elect. He is not the president-to-be. He is not. Number one, nothing has been certified. Number two, it's a contested election. Number three, Donald J. Trump has not, nor will he concede. So there's all of that. And there was a lot of hanky-panky going on in the race. There was. Well, it's not proven. You can't prove it. There's no evidence. Baloney. Let's see what I'm just getting this off Fox News here. Joe Biden and Trump. Joe Biden denied Trump a second term in the White House last week. Blah blah blah. Because this is now what Fox News is doing. They don't recognize, apparently, with the exception of Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity, they don't recognize that there's any chance Donald Trump could win. This is where Fox News is. U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren did not mention, however, the critics, including some Democrats, blaming progressive positions like defund the police for the party's loss in the House of Representatives and its failure to retake control of the Senate, pending the outcome of a couple of runoffs in Georgia. But now, Warren is calling for progressive policies to be put forward right away. Ooh. She says she listed what she described as progressive victories on the ballot initiatives in states across the country. All right, well, Massachusetts, you're from Massachusetts. You don't get much more. Charlie Parker, the governor, the rhino governor of Massachusetts, is progressive. Even Massachusetts isn't stupid enough to accept ranked choice voting. Did you see that? I digress. She said Florida became the 8th state to pass a $15 minimum wage. Arizona voted to increase taxes on the wealthy to fund public schools. Multiple states, red and blue, passed ballot measures to legalize marijuana. And Colorado said yes to 12 weeks of paid family leave. The lesson is clear, she said. Bold policies improve opportunity for all Americans, and they are broadly popular, except for people trying to run businesses. Voters recognize these reforms are necessary to fix what is broken. So where does she stand? She wants everything enacted right away. She advises Biden and Harris to take immediate action upon assuming office, including executive orders and actions by federal agencies, thus bypassing Congress. She calls for them to cancel billions of dollars in student debt. lower drug prices. We'd all like that. Issue new OSHA health and safety standards for employers and raise the minimum wage for federal contractors, among other measures. Why? Because she just won't go away. She's eyeing the Treasury Secretary's job. Ooh, what's in it for me, Pocahontas says. She wants to be higher on the totem pole. Provided Trump doesn't win re-election. She didn't say that. Because she doesn't recognize that Trump's even still in the running, which he is. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. 10:55 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. I'll do one more thing before the top of the hour here. I want you to hear this from Veterans Day. Next hour, you're going to hear from Bernie Sanders himself as he speaks to the squad in a Zoom meeting. Ho! You want to hear the communist himself speak as a true dictator, as a true tyrant, as a true Marxist to his followers, to his lemmings, to his suck-ups, to his toadies, whatever you want to call them, the squad. We'll have that coming up for you. Right now, though, let me do a couple of things here. Fredo Cuomo over at CNN tries so hard to be clever and eloquent. I think he's jealous of Tucker Carlson, really. And he wants to be like Tucker when he grows up, but he fails so miserably. Poor Fredo. I'm not sure if it's because he just doesn't have a good command of the language or he's just angry all the time and he makes his words more angry than compelling. So anyway, last night he used his rage to get to the heart of what's bothering him. And there's a lot bothering him. The fact that many won't call Biden president-elect because he's not. The fact that Republicans want an investigation of fraud because there has been plenty, and Fredo knows it. At least he starts out by wishing Happy Veterans Day to the veterans before he goes off the rails, apparently forgetting that vets chose the path they did to secure our right to be free and to have free and fair elections and to litigate any unfairness in the system. That's why they're veterans, Fredo. But it was nice of you to thank them up front. I will give you that. But then he comes unglued, and it's something to behold.
Thank you to each and all of you. We appreciate, certainly I appreciate, your service. And may we take the message of this day, the ideal of putting nation before self, even committing to the ultimate sacrifice, more to heart. Yeah, I'm politicizing it. And I'm looking at you, GOP enablers. And you know why?
Oh, yeah.
Veterans Day came from Armistice Day. Eisenhower renamed it. Mm-hmm. Armistice Day was when both sides laid down arms in World War I. The date was to mark the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918 when it ended. Well, it is the 11th hour now after this election. And these GOP cronies know it is over. Shame on you for allowing crazy to become contagious as COVID in your ranks. The best they can be, apparently, is Senator Langford from Oklahoma, this guy. He sits on the Homeland Security Committee. Now, he won't call Biden president-elect either.
Oh.
He does say, though, he should get the daily security brief. Can you believe that's the best in their ranks? Even Karl Rove, remember him? He penned an op-ed saying this is over. Karl Rove. You know how toxically partisan you have to be for Karl Rove to be more fair to Democrats than you? And remember, the shame is that this is a game for them. Shame on them. A wax museum is less cold-blooded than these people are. And let them know they are going to lose way more than this election.
Wow. Holy cow. Well, that sounds like another veiled threat by Chris Cuomo. He threatened Donald Trump yesterday, or the other day. You remember he threatened Donald Trump? Said he'd whack him in the head or something like that. Then he said before that, back in September, he said he better not come to New York City without an army. Boy, Chris Cuomo's tough guy. Tough guy. All bronze, no brains. He's hot, though, ladies. He's hot. I don't know if he's available. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't care, really. But now let's juxtapose him with another Democrat. Let's get a Veterans Day, a real heartfelt Veterans Day wish from a person who really gets America, whether you agree with everything she says or not. A Democrat who is a veteran and speaks not anger but love, care, compassion to her fellow veterans. She's a member of Congress. She's from Hawaii. No, not Mazie Hirono. She ran for president. She didn't get anywhere in the Democratic Party because the DNC didn't like her. She wasn't progressive enough. Here's a Veterans Day message you need to hear. This was yesterday. This is Tulsi Gabbard.
Today is a day where our nation recognizes the service and sacrifice of our servicemen and women and our families. To my fellow veterans, I love you, and I am so proud and grateful to stand in your ranks across generations, to stand amongst those who live by these warrior ethos in service to our country. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit, and I will never leave a fallen comrade. Sadly, there are too many of our fellow veterans who are being left behind, too many who are suffering the consequences of toxic burn pits, who seeking care are turned away because lack of proof that their cancer, their illness is service-connected. There are too many who are struggling without roofs over their heads or food to eat, and too many who survive combat only to come home and lose that internal battle and take their own lives. Too often, expressions of gratitude to our veterans is only expressed on Veterans Day, when every day should be Veterans Day, with gratitude expressed through action. Every day should be a day where politicians understand that war should always be a last resort. Every day should be a day where they never forget that it is the service members and our families who pay the price for war. So as another Veterans Day goes by, here is my message to all of our elected leaders. The best way to honor our veterans is to stop waging unnecessary wars. The best way to serve our veterans is to work for peace. The best way to care for our war veterans is to stop creating more. And the best way to honor those we've lost is to care for those who have come home.
Wow. Okay, that gave me chills. Democrat Tulsi Gabbard. Great American. 11:02, we'll be back. I'm John James.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Jim Ryan. Virtually every state is now seeing rising coronavirus infections, with a record 144,000 cases on Wednesday. The Midwest is seeing more COVID-19 deaths than the South did during the summer surge. Still, Dr. Anthony Fauci says it's not too late to bring it under control. A drop in weekly jobless claims amid the pandemic. Here's ABC's Aaron Katersky.
709,000 laid-off Americans applied for jobless benefits for the first time last week. It's a pandemic low point for weekly jobless claims and a sign of a slowly recovering labor market. The number of weekly jobless claims has dropped in each of the last 4 weeks. However, there has been an increase in infections every day this week, threatening jobs and the economy.
President Trump's legal team has filed challenges in 5 states now, as Mr. Trump refuses to concede that he lost the 2020 election. Sources tell ABC News he may fight this up until mid-December, when the Electoral College officially casts its ballots. This is ABC News. Questions continue to arise after the shakeup at the Pentagon. The president fired Secretary of State Mark Esper, and then 3 more top officials quickly went out the door, all of them replaced by people considered more loyal to President Trump. ABC News contributor and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Steve Ganyard says
anything that these people can do can be undone an hour after the inauguration. So what they might do in terms of policies, not really anything that would be of substance or reason to put them in there. It could be score settling by the White House. That's one reason. But I'm a little concerned that there may be something else going on here.
Raising the possibility of some military action in the next couple of months. A federal appeals court today has found that Harvard University did not discriminate against Asian American applicants. The lawsuit was brought by a group that opposes affirmative action. It argues Harvard gave preference to Black or Hispanic students despite lower academic records. The case could be headed for review by the Supreme Court. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Some gifts say, I care about you. Some gifts say, I'm going to wow you. This year, one gift says both. It's the new Oral-B IO, the electric toothbrush with the irresistible design that dentists will find irresistible for another reason. It improves oral health by delivering the wow of a professional clean feel at home every single day. This year, give the gift of wow, the Oral-B IO. Oral-B, brush like a pro.
eBay has gifts that say a lot, but don't cost a lot. So save big on a DeWalt drill set for dad that says, let's get to work. Tell your all-star niece it's time for takeoff with Air Jordans at not-so-sky-high prices. And get a certified refurbished Bose soundbar for your husband that says, we're going to need a bigger home theater. Say a lot, save a lot on gifts from eBay for those who mean a lot.
It's time for the truth, and you found the home of it right here. Here's your truth-telling, freedom-loving, flag-waving host, John James.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, you know what? There's going to be trouble in Dodge if Joe Biden becomes president and locks down America for 6 weeks, only going out for groceries to the supermarket just for necessary things. There are going to be problems in paradise, my friend, because according to a Newsmax article this morning, a Gallup poll shows that less than half the people in America are going to comply with mandatory lockdowns. So, what does that mean? Well, I hope we never have to realize it, because I'm still holding out hope and will that Joe Biden is not going to be president. He shouldn't be. I believe Donald Trump won. I believe too many dead people voted, nullifying your vote, my vote, and many other votes. And that's only the dead people. I'm not talking about the ballot dumps, the ballot harvesting. I'm not talking about any of that. Sure, that's part of it too. Less than half. So, say Biden becomes president and shuts down the country for 6 weeks, like one of his COVID czars is telling him to do. What if less than half the people comply? Well, I guess we see, or will see, to what extent Joe Biden and his government, led by progressive socialists, would do in the event of a situation where Americans don't comply with government orders. I guess we would see what happens, wouldn't we? That would be all too telling. That's writing on the wall I don't want to see, to be honest with you. Hold on, I gotta crack this door. It's never just right in here. Now somebody's turned the heat on. It's about 150 degrees in the studio here. I'm getting red. In a poll taken between October 19th and November 1st, 49% of respondents said they'll be very likely to stay home for a month if it's recommended after an outbreak in their communities, down from 67% in the spring. Another 18% said they're somewhat likely to comply, but a third said they are not likely to obey lockdown orders at all. Americans are becoming more concerned about the pandemic, and we should be. But we know what precautions to take, right? Don't we? Are we smart? Are we people with common sense? Not everybody has common sense. You stay away from those people. You have a choice to just distance yourself from those people. That's the recommendation from the CDC. Distance yourself. Yeah, I'll wear a mask. I'll wear a mask because I want to, because I care about my family, because now a family member has been exposed to it. And I've got people with conditions, including a grandson, who have underlying conditions that I'm sorry, I'm not going to take any chances on that. They say, well, masks don't work. Well, okay, maybe they don't. Maybe they're 1% effective. And maybe if I'm wearing a mask and somebody else is wearing a mask, that's 2% effective. But that's better than nothing when it comes to a life, right? So just saying. I'm just saying, don't hate me for that. I get it. I do. I really, really get it. This has been a really tough battle for me, accepting the edicts. I would rather be able to do it by freedom. The edicts aren't enforceable from what I can tell, that Governor Mills and others have put down. I mean, what are they going to do? Literally, what are they going to do? Are they going to arrest me for walking around in a parking lot without a mask? I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm not going to wear a mask walking around in a parking lot by myself. I'm not going to do it. Will not comply. People are so willing to, they even wear them in the cars, driving around by themselves. I saw this the other day. This woman, she had this mask. It was halfway up her nose. It was under her chin. It should be over your nose. If it's not over your nose, you might as well not wear a mask. But this woman, she had a band around the back of her neck, and it was over the top of her head, and it was secured to her face. And she's driving around alone in a car on Western Avenue in Augusta. And I'm thinking, what the what? What? Oh, well, the governor said we've got to wear them everywhere when we're outside. All right. Okay. All right. Go ahead. You're easy. What, by the way, why don't you pick me up a donut and a coffee while you're in Dunkin' Donuts there? Sorry, Dunkin'. Okay. Governor Mills told me to tell you to get me a donut and a large coffee, just cream. Okay. All right. The governor said so. Tell me to wear a mask in a empty parking lot when I'm outside walking alone. Putting my shopping cart back in the corral. Now that should be the crime. She should put out a mandate that people who do not put their carts back in the corral, you are going to jail. I'm serious as a heart attack about that. Drives me crazy. Who's more likely to comply? Let's break this down a little bit. Nationwide law, you got to stay in. You can't go out of your house. The government says, hi, I'm Joe Biden. I don't know where I am or why I've got this mask on, but I'm being told by whoever this is, that I should, and Polka, who's it, that I should tell you, you must stay inside for 6 weeks because Punxsutawney Phil saw his masked shadow. So he makes that edict. Who's going to comply? How many people are going to comply with that? 40% of Republicans. That's surprising to me. 40% of Republicans said they're willing to comply with a stay-at-home order. 87% of Democrats. Who are the willing participants? Who are the lemmings? Who are the sheep? Bah, bah. Ted Nugent can do it better than I can. Who, I ask you? The Democrats. By gosh, that's only 13% away from 100%. Down only slightly from the first lockdown. 91% said they're well, comply. So you've got 4 out of 10 Republicans who said they'll comply. Almost 9 out of 10 Democrats. Yeah, okay. Okay, Joe. You know what's best. The government knows what's best. Is it any wonder we're headed down the crapper? Government is not supposed to be in control of us. That's not the way this nation was set up by the founders. We, the people, control them, the government, not the other way around. But the Democrats, 90%, 9 out of 10, are more than willing to let the government say, do it, and jump. How high? I'm telling you, if this administration comes in, we may be doomed. Saved only by a slim margin in the Senate, if we can get that. If they don't mess around with that in Georgia, don't put it past them. Between now and the runoff in January. $11:15. Legacy 1160 WSKW. So let's talk about some of the litigation, some of the claims being made. To prove to you, if you are still on the fence about believing it, to prove to you that there's widespread voter fraud. Why are so many of your friends on the left outraged that people aren't looking to Biden as our next leader? Why are so many on Facebook and Twitter telling us to get over it and accept the results of the election? Why is Whoopi, I'm the brains of the world, Goldberg, saying things like this?
From now on, suck it up. Grow the pair. All these Americans who voted legally came out and stood and voted. How dare you question it?
How dare you? Well, they not only stood and voted, many of them lay vertical and voted, or horizontal, I should say. Yeah, a whole bunch of them. Whole bunch of them didn't lift a finger, didn't lift much of anything, really. Couldn't. They're no longer, as we say, animated. Tucker Carlson did a great open on this last night. You know why? You know why they listen to Whoopi Goldberg and they say, yeah, Whoopi, you go, girl, suck it up, grow a pair. Shame on you. It's because they're compliant little subjects in the world of despots and the propaganda media who keep the truth from said lemmings. And if you doubt they're actually mere henchmen, look no further than the fact they accept what the leftist media says without question, without research, without any intellectual thought. 9 out of 10 Democrats say, okay, if you tell me to stay in for a month and not go anywhere, I will. Yeah. 4 out of 10 Republicans. So who loves freedom more? Well, that little Gallup poll right there of 23 or so thousand people ought to tell you who loves freedom and who doesn't really give a crap about freedom. The only care the government takes care of me from cradle to grave. Change my diaper when I get old, when I'm little. Take care of me, send me off to school, pay for my education, pay for Medicare for all. Yeah, Medicare for all is back on the table. We'll get to that. So the truth is, unbeknownst to the leftist toadies, there was and is widespread fraud going on. They just don't know it, or worse, maybe they do know it and don't want it exposed. Either way, Trump, thankfully, will not let it go. Have faith in him. Here is a great open from Tucker Carlson last night. I've edited it down. That's a tough one for me. Edited it down to about 9 minutes. And this is well worth hearing. Is it? No, is it shorter than that? Is that the right one? That doesn't even look like the right one. Hold on, I got to hang up on somebody there, a friend of mine. Shouldn't be calling me during the show. Okay, this is a very shortened version. If this is right, let's Tucker Carlson
to independent conservative sites, places like the Federalist.
Okay, well that's not right. That's not the whole thing. Oh boy. Okay, well I guess I don't have it. No, because it was about 9 minutes long. The one I thought I had. Okay, well, never mind that then. I guess we won't go there. I can find it real quick for you, and I will. There's certain parts I wanted you to hear. So what I'm going to do, we're ready for a break now. So we'll take a quick break, and I will try to get Tucker Carlson's open up. If I can, I can't. You know, that's the way it is. We'll roll with the flow because I can think during this show and make adjustments as we need to. I just can't multitask. Stick around. We'll be right back.
WSKW, AM 1160.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show,
take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid's talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
What a fantastic time to shop for fall items at Town Line Antiques, where you'll find 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. Town Line Antiques has vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and more. If you haven't been recently, there are new booths and lots of items, including a full booth of Christmas goodies for anyone who wants to spread some early cheer. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Kennebec Eye Care is pleased to let you know that they have reopened for routine eye care with temporary office hours Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Fridays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. To schedule an appointment, call 872-2797. Kennebec Eye Care will continue to follow all CDC guidelines to make sure everyone stays safe and healthy. Contact lens can still be ordered over the phone and mailed to you, or you can set up a time for curbside pickup of contact lens or glasses. Kennebec Eye Care, your site specialists at 216 Main Street in Waterville, would like to say thank you to everyone for supporting local businesses.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Cloudy this morning with a slight chance for a shower. Some developing sun is possible later this afternoon inland, but expect a mostly cloudy day and cooler with temperatures dropping to the low to mid 50s this afternoon. Increasing clouds tomorrow with the chance for showers, highs in the 40s, sunny near 50 Saturday with rain late Sunday.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
All right, little dead air there. Not much, though. I did pretty well. Considering I had to push a lot of buttons and make a lot of ground up during that break, I was able to find this. I wasn't sure I'd be able to, but I was able to find it. And I'm not going to be able to start it where I wanted to, unfortunately, just because. But where to go? Did I have it right? There's so many windows open here. I'm having a hard time. I had to get it right off the video, and I'm not sure now if I may. You know what? I may have closed the darn thing. Well, by Godfrey, it looks like I did, doesn't it? It sure does look like I did. All right, bear with me for just 1 second. Luckily, Google saves things, so I can hopefully get right back to it here. One thing I like about, I don't know if you use this very much, but you can go to the tools and you can choose what time parameters you want it to look at, and it will find them. It will find what you're looking for within those time parameters. I'm always doing my show with current stuff, so I'm always looking within the last hour or 24 hours. And I was able to find the Tucker Carlson thing. Yes, I do have it. I'm not going to air the whole thing, but I think you need to hear this. This is very telling about what the left is doing and their complicit media. The DNC media is more than happy to aid and abet.
The position of corporate media across the country this week has been very simple. There was no voter fraud. The New York Times, once the paper of record, declared that as fact this morning across the entire front page. Look at this banner headline. Election officials nationwide find no fraud. No fraud, none. End of story. Move on and listen to Kamala. You're hearing virtually the same thing from everyone in the media. Everyone. At CNN, the anchors have been repeating the approved message for days. They say it with a kind of brittle intensity that suggests precisely because they don't really believe what they're saying, you absolutely must believe it. Shut up and accept the verdict, America.
Sources tell CNN that top aides are suggesting that the defeated President Trump, hold rallies to drum up bogus conspiracies about election fraud.
The GOP keeps spreading completely unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud.
The Attorney General now telling federal prosecutors to look into those unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud.
There is no evidence of widespread voter fraud, no evidence of widespread flaws in the mail-in voting process.
Bogus conspiracy theories, completely unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud. They say it again and again, but what exactly are they talking about? They won't tell you, so we're going to tell you. Right now, fewer than 15,000 votes separate Donald Trump from Joe Biden in the state of Georgia. It's close enough that it's worth getting specific about what happened there. And Georgia's Secretary of State has now confirmed there will be a hand recount of all votes cast in Georgia. Among those votes, auditors will find a ballot cast by a woman called Deborah Jean Christensen. It'd be hard to find anyone who's got a bad word to say about Deborah Jean Christensen. She was well known in her community for years as a bird watcher, an avid gardener, a committed fan of the Georgia Bulldogs. Those who knew her were sad when she died last May, and they might be surprised to learn that even after her death, Deborah Jean Christensen still managed to register to vote and then cast a ballot, presumably for Joe Biden. In some ways, it's an inspiring story, the triumph of voting over death.
Okay, so there you go. And there were many, many, many more examples of that. That was only a couple of minutes. He went into it in depth in his monologue, got a lot more names, a lot more people. There's a lot more evidence of voter fraud, which we'll get to some of it right now. As a matter of fact. So there is. I mean, don't let anybody tell you it's not. If they tell you there was no voter fraud, there's no proof of widespread voter fraud, you know right then to turn them off because they are telling you a lie. But that's what the media does. Do you understand now? Have you been looking for lies saying, geez, you know, he keeps telling me they're lying all the time on MSNBC or CNN. I'm just not seeing it. Well, now you're seeing it. You saw it on Saturday when MSNBC, CNN, ABC said the bells in Paris were for Trump losing to Biden. The fireworks in England were for Trump losing to Biden, when in fact there were two separate celebrations. One was a call to prayer for people for Parisian people, and the other was a celebration of something that happened with England in the 1600s. Yet they told you as truth that this was in celebration of Joe Biden's victory. They lied to you, and now they're lying to you again about no proof of voter fraud. They're lying. They're lying when they open their mouths. They get paid to lie and make up fiction and tell stories on TV. They're disingenuous, dangerous propagandists, right down to Chuck Todd, who everybody knows Chuck Todd because he's the big guy on NBC. Not your father's NBC network. So, de Blasio let it slip. The truth, de Blasio let it slip. Now I'm not talking about Bill de Blasio. No, I'm talking about his daughter, Chiara, or Chiara. I'm not sure how you say her name. You hear this? You ready for this? She was interviewed about the presidential race, and in one sentence, she made two slips. Were they Freudian slips or were they just a momentary lapse of judgment? Listen, the first voice you'll hear is the man asking her, what is so special about the Biden-Harris win? And then you will hear Chiara de Blasio.
Why do you think this is so special? Why do you guys have this special? Well, for me, it's really special because now we have the first Black Asian female president in office, elected, and Joe Biden was able to steal now, but it's a win.
Whoa. Did you hear what she said? Why she is so excited? Because we have the first Black Asian female president elected, and Joe Biden was able to win. Who does that? Who makes a mistake like that? Who makes a mistake like that? Who replaces the word win with the word steal? Unless this is what they truly believe or have been told over and over and over again. Habits become patterns, or patterns become habits. A pattern of hearing that he stole the election would make it a habit when you speak about it. Would it not? Bill de Blasio's little girl. Oh, he must be so proud. Brent Bozell is the president of the Media Research Center. Brent Bozell sat down with Mark Levin to talk about the election and the media's role in it. Did you know that because Democrats watch the propaganda networks and take it as gospel, that listen to this, this blows my mind, 36% of Democrats who were surveyed had never even heard about the Hunter Biden laptop. What? What are you talking about? The Hunter Biden laptop? What are you even saying? 36%. You can't make up the stupidity. They are blinded they blinded me with science. That's what they're doing. They are blinding them with science. That song, that phrase from Thomas Dolby never was more true to life than it is now. Believe the science. Listen to us. Believe the science. We're going to die in 11 years if we don't end fossil fuels. You are going to die if you don't do what the government tells you during the pandemic. Listen, they are blinded with science, so they listen to those who profess to love science, the mainstream media, who doesn't tell them anything they need to know. 36% of your mainstream media Democrats had never heard of the Hunter Biden laptop. Boom. Is it any wonder Joe Biden got so many votes? He's credited with more than he actually got, undoubtedly. But is it any wonder so many people voted for him? They are ignorant. They are living in some parallel world, someplace where good is bad and bad is good. And they'll keep living there because the media is not changing. The media is not going to change. Fox is starting to change right along with them. How long will it be before they fire Tucker and Sean and Laura because they're too conservative for the network? So anyway, 36% of Democrats had never heard the Hunter Biden story. Didn't know anything about a laptop or Tony Bobulinski or any of that, or the fact that Joe Biden had all kinds of corrupt dealings with China and took a cut of what was made of communist China. So no wonder he loves communist China and the World Health Organization. No wonder he loves them. He gets money from them. They're his buds. They're his buddies. These people are like mushrooms. They're kept in the dark, told to comply, and they do. So Mark Levin told Brent Bozell of the Media Research Center to expand on this. Explain the media's role in trying to defeat the president.
Well, let's go through some numbers. This is something that we could trace back 4 years, but let's look just at the Hunter Biden laptop story. It broke on October 14th. The New York Post reported it. This laptop contained all the evidence one needed, I think, probably to indict Biden for his activities in China. It has all the material, the phone conversations, the emails, the discussions about payoffs, everything you need to know. It was bigger than anything, I think. I mean, remember the Richard Nixon Watergate scandal and the Rosemary Wood 8.5-minute tape and how that brought down the president. This is 100 times bigger than that. So you would expect nonstop media coverage of this. You would expect them not just to be covering the story, but investigating the story. Look how they investigated Donald Trump for 4 years nonstop on hoaxes that didn't exist. So what was the coverage? For the next 2 weeks, the networks devoted 113 hours to news coverage. Within that 113 hours, the total amount of coverage given to the laptop, are you ready? 21 minutes.
That is shocking.
It didn't exist. Now let's take it to the next step. Thursday, October 28th, Thursday night, October 28th, on the eve, right before the second presidential debate, Tony Bobulinski appears on the Tucker Carlson show. For 1 hour, he corroborates the laptop as being honest. He corroborates the emails that went back and forth between he and Hunter Biden. He talks about all the phone conversations that were had. He talks about the meetings he had with the Biden family, including Joe Biden. That 1 hour interview is absolutely explosive. The next day, what was the coverage of it? Absolutely nothing from the network news. Nothing other than to dismiss the president for bringing it up during the debates. So it never existed. Now, why is all this important? And just two examples we're giving here. Why is all this important? We took a survey after the elections, on the night of the elections, and asked Democrats if they knew about the Hunter Biden story. A full 36% of Democrats knew nothing about the Hunter Biden story.
Amazing.
Democrats, remember, they rely on these networks for their news. 36% of Democrats knew nothing about the Hunter Biden story. Further, 4.6% of Democrats said they would not have voted for Joe Biden had they known this story. We then took that 4.6% and we spread it across the electoral landscape. Guess what? Had they known this story, Joe Biden would not have carried Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and the Trump lead would have been definitive in North Carolina. Meaning what? Meaning that Donald Trump would have won 289 electoral votes and would be the re-elect president of the United States.
All because the media covered Biden's wazoo. That's the danger in the media. There you have it. There you have it. Brent Bozell, a respected man from the Media Research Center. If they'd known about Joe Biden's laptop or Hunter Biden's laptop, which indicted Joe big time, they wouldn't have voted for him. But the media, remember this, I don't know if you heard it when we heard this. The media, except for Fox, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, this is a scandal. Those 5 networks had access to the laptop hard drive with all the evidence on it. Not one of them even asked for it. Not one of them even asked for it. And you tell me fake news is a made-up term? Fake news is more fake than probably even Donald Trump knew. He had the cojones to call him out, right? They hate it. They hate being called fake news, but hey, they've earned it. They deserve it. They got it. And they are. 1140 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Oh, let's see if we can lighten the mood just a little bit. What do we have here? You have any birthdays or any other things to celebrate? Hold on. Maybe we do. Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. Maybe. Oh, I know we've got celebrations going on today. I just saw some birthdays. Oh, to heck with it. Okay, I'll get back to that. Be some good levity. We need a little levity right now. Okay, so Sean Spicer is on. Did you know Sean Spicer is on Newsmax? Now, if you don't get Newsmax on your Spectrum, if you're a Mainer and you get Spectrum, if you don't get Newsmax on your Spectrum and you've got a smart TV, there is a thing in your menu called TV Plus. Newsmax is on TV Plus, and it's free. Use it just like you use the channels on Spectrum. Just go over to TV Plus on your menu, and Newsmax is there, and you can watch it, just like you can any of the other networks. So during Sean Spicer, his show Spicer and Company on Newsmax the other day, Spicer interviewed a member of President Trump's legal team. His name is Jordan Sekulow. And he said, despite mainstream media's urgent demands for evidence of widespread election fraud, it'll take time for the legal case to be outcome determinative. He said it's going to be a little bit of a slow process to get this to court, but then all the federal courts know that they've got to do this rapidly, according to Sekulow of the American Center for Law and Justice. Take your time, let us do our legal work, and the courts are going to do this in an expedited manner, he said. Whether it's like 30 days or so, I think we have this all figured out. So the other shoe is yet to drop. And boy, isn't it going to surprise that 36% of Democrats who watch nothing but their beloved media propagandists on CNN and MSNBC and hear nothing about what's really going on behind the scenes. Won't they be surprised one day when they turn on their news and say, we got bad news. Donald Trump has now taken over the presidency and will be your second-term president on January 21st. Won't they be surprised? Because between now and the time a decision is made, they aren't going to hear a thing about it. Because the media doesn't want you to. The media only wants to chastise anybody who doesn't accept that Joe Biden is the president-elect. Damn you if you don't think so. Well, he's not. By definition, he's not. But they don't care about definitions. Stories to them are reality. Whatever you perceive, whatever they can make you perceive, they know is your reality. And they have fooled you. Oh, they have fooled you leftists for so long. You don't know what's going on in our country. You have no clue. You have no clue because they're not telling you, because you You suck right up to them and you believe every word they say, just like you believe everything the government says. Just like 9 out of 10 Democrats say, yeah, I'll stay in, locked up in my house for a month if the government tells me to. Yeah. That's a new survey that just came out. 4 out of 10 Republicans would, 9 out of 10 Democrats would. What does that tell you? Who cares more about freedom? Well, I think it's clear, don't you? So Spicer asked Jordan Sekulow, he said, wait a minute, I want to make sure I get the right cut. Okay, he said, tell us where we stand right now.
So let's start off with Pennsylvania, because that's already made it to the nation's highest court, the Supreme Court of the United States. We know that Justice Alito has referred the matter to the entire court. This is about a judge, a local state court judge, extending the time that ballots could be entered, could be delivered, and then voted on, and then also whether they should have been segregated, which is what Justice Alito had said to do, and then they could be counted but kept from the total count. And they came back and basically said, we didn't do any of that. So now it's referred to the entire court. And here's what I think on Pennsylvania. A lot of challenges there. There's challenges in Philly, but I think what the Supreme Court is going to look at this week is whether or not there will be enough additional challenges from other states where a decision like in Pennsylvania or a decision from another state can become outcome determinative in total. So Pennsylvania alone will not be outcome determinative. So we looked at places like Nevada. A lawsuit was filed there today.
But wait, hold on. Before you move on, Jordan, I want to underscore what's going on there, because there's two things that are important. Number one, that's 20 electoral votes. That's a game changer in itself. But secondly, President Trump tweeted, highly respected Ken Starr, Pennsylvania's 3-day extension of the mail-in ballot deadline is a constitutional travesty, right? But what he's getting at, and I just want to make sure people understand what you were saying, because it's important. Jenna Ellis from the president's legal team has made this point. The Constitution says that state legislatures change the law when it comes to election, not state courts. So that's the point, right? Is that what the Supreme Court is saying is, wait a second, Pennsylvania, what you just did was not in accordance with the Constitution. Is my law and order legal training correct?
Yes, that's right. And what Justice Alito said in his first order was that you need all of these counties, all of these precincts, they've got to segregate, and now it's an order, segregate the ballots that came in late, and they can count them, but they cannot include them in the actual count in Pennsylvania. And so we're looking at not just Philly here, we're looking at thousands, tens of thousands of votes, enough votes that could potentially overturn who wins the state of Pennsylvania.
And these mail-in ballots, by the way, these mail-in ballots are the ones that the press talked about went largely in favor of Joe Biden. So if those ballots were to be excluded, that's a big advantage to President Trump.
That's right. And so, but for that to get to the Supreme Court, and they're kind of holding it right now, Sean, for that to get there, for them to make a decision like that, which would be like kind of like a Bush versus Gore decision, they've got to look at the other states too and make sure that we've got realistic legal challenges, which we believe we do, that can actually, when they're all put together, change the outcome of the Electoral College in favor of President Trump.
But why? So I don't get that. Why it's just because part of it is if you pull apart Pennsylvania, why does it matter what, I mean, I get the point here, but at the end of the day, if they did something wrong in Pennsylvania, why not settle it in Pennsylvania?
I think there's a chance because enough state attorney generals have weighed in this Pennsylvania case that they may ultimately decide it because of what you said, Sean, for future precedent, even if it doesn't affect the outcome. But I do think right now they're taking a step back to see what else is the Trump team, the president's legal team, the RNC legal team, what else are they bringing? And I want to get to Nevada.
Right.
Nevada, we just filed a challenge today over the fact that they took their voting machine down, and what they did was they took the bare minimum, and which is the baseline of signature, how they count the signatures and make sure they're correct, and they turned it down as low as possible in Clark County. That's up to 600,000 votes, and we believe a third of those would likely be tossed out. And that's in the current legal challenge.
Wow. Well, we said it in unison there, didn't we? Sean Spicer and me. Well, I guess I'm in good company, huh? How about that? That's Jordan Sekulow, part of the president's legal team. You see, you can't believe what the mainstream media is saying. Will Donald Trump end up being a second-term president? I don't know. We don't know. Are there legitimate questions about the election? Absolutely. Is there a chance this is going to be overturned and some of the electoral votes will go from Biden to Trump? Absolutely, there's a chance. We don't know as it'll happen yet. We don't know. I don't know as we'll ever, and I'm sure, even as we speak, even as litigation is getting closer, I'm sure in the darkest corners of polling places across the country, they're conniving now to find a way to make this continue to work for Biden. And they may do it. They may do it. I keep going back. I can't get my mind off the fact that a lot of false ballots, ballot dumps were made. And they were commingled with good ballots. How do you say this one is not good, this one is good, unless you can see a pattern? I mean, if the same people were filling out the ballots, there will be a pattern. I mean, whether you scribble things in a certain way, whether you scribbled in Joe Biden a certain way, however they do it in whatever state, and then didn't vote for any of the down ballot candidates. There was a lot of that going on. A lot of ballots found with just Joe Biden checked or colored in and no down ballot votes. There was a glut of those. That's a pattern. That's something that can help them determine whether or not these ballots are real or if they're fraudulent. And you know what? It doesn't matter what they determine. It doesn't matter what the Supreme Court or anybody else determines. If it turns out there was widespread fraud and Trump does become, again, the 45th president of the United States, there's going to be hell to pay because they will not accept it. They will not accept that we didn't accept their fraud. That basically sums it up. That's being very elementary about it, but that's what it comes down to. They would not accept that we didn't accept their fraud. And they've got a hair across their proverbial butt. 11:52. So Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, said Georgia is going to conduct a full hand recount. Mathematically, you actually have to do a full hand-by-hand recount of all ballots because the margin is so close. We want to start this before the week is up. That's what he said. The recount is likely to take until November 20th, which is the certification deadline. Biden leads Trump by about 14,000 votes currently in the tally, and I'm sure they're going to be looking for discrepancies as they count along. I would hope they are. And if any ballots were counted for Trump illegally, that will be found too. I hope there's plenty of oversight. I'm just amazed at the lack of oversight this time. Poll watchers not allowed closer than 20 feet from the tables where they were counting ballots. I mean, wouldn't you think if they're anything like me, and they knew since last year there's going to be widespread voter fraud, wouldn't you think they would have pulled out all the stops and made sure they were right there, eyeballs on the table, eyeballs on the count, glaring, staring, leering, watching as the count is done? Wouldn't you think? I mean, the courts weren't even adhered to. They made the decision to let these poll watchers close, these ballot count watchers, and they still kept them away. Well, damn it, I'm sorry. I'm going to get through your velvet rope or whatever you have, your table blocking me, and the court said I could come up here and watch. Arrest me. That would have been me. I wouldn't have put up with that. I would not have put up with that knowing I had a court order behind me. Why did they, knowing this was going to happen, knowing that they were going to do whatever they could to rig the election? And perhaps they did. Perhaps because people on the right were so non-assertive, so blasé, so flippant about the whole thing. Maybe now we will lose our country because of that. Had I been there, you wouldn't have kept me away from that table. Court said I could be here. You shut up. Drag me out if you want to, but somebody will get this on video, and there's going to be hell to pay. 11:55. I'm going to leave with one more thing here. I told you I'd bring you this. You got to hear this. So, what would the plans for a puppet President Biden be? Well, Bernie Sanders had a Zoom meeting with a squad recently, his adoring posse, and he laid out what the plans are. Now, you'll have to trust me when I say Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, they were all part of the meeting because for once they kept their mouths shut. But trust me when I say that as Bolshevik Bernie spoke, they were all smiling and nodding in agreement. Here is Bernie and the 4 squad members, and this is their Zoom meeting, and listen to what they've got planned for marionette Joe Biden.
We understand that electing Biden is not the end all. It is the beginning, okay? And I think as the result of the work that all of you have done, Biden's proposals in this campaign are a lot stronger than they were in the primary, and his proposals are stronger. Do they go as far as we would want? No, they don't. And we're not giving up on our agenda. But you know and I know that at the end of the day, the only way that we're going to provide quality care to every man, woman, and child in an affordable way is through Medicare for all. And we ain't giving up on that struggle. All right? We're going to introduce Medicare for all. We organize our people to make sure that Biden becomes the most progressive president.
Oh, Medicare. We're going to introduce Medicare for all. Organize and make sure Biden is the most progressive president. In other words, control him. There you have it. There's the plan. There's the plan. A lot more tomorrow. Thank you for joining me. Share the video, share the love, share the freedom. See you tomorrow, I hope. Mike Violette, my compatriot, here tomorrow morning at 6. I'll be back at 9 with Freedom's Pep Rally. Have a great afternoon.
AM 1160, WSKW.
Hi, this is Jeff from K-Tronics, your local Wilson Electronics, WeBoost, and Dish TV product experts for over 23 years. From cell phone signal boosters for your camp, home, work, or vehicle, to Dish TV starting at only $59.99 per month for over 120 channels, including local channels. Now introducing smart home products to keep you connected and informed no matter where you are. Call 207-696-3200 or come see us at 57 Main Street, Madison.
Delta Ambulance is the area's leading provider of high-quality emergency services and medical transportation in central Maine. You can always rely on Delta for safe transportation for routine or critical